So there we have it. 2020 is finally over. What a year it's been for the world, and what a year it's been for Magic. One of the most profitable years in Wizards of the Coast history, even though they didn't have face-to-face play for the majority of the year. They still made record profits, which is fascinating to me, but it also shows that the direction in the future may be going more digital, and more secret layer products will be probably on the cards, because it looks like you don't even really need people to play face-to-face. I mean, it's either that or Magic's a bubble. I mean, it can't be, it's got to be something, because if you can't play the cards face-to-face, then, why would cards continue to keep going up unless they're just collector's items, and then at that point, why releasing new sets on things that aren't MTG Arena if people can't open them up, play draft? I mean, they named it Draft Booster Box because you're supposed to draft it. You can't really... Whatever, anyways. Hopefully these vaccines get, the ball rolling and we get back to Magic the Gathering the way that most players love to play. Alright, so I'm going to rank, out of the 6 sets, I'm going to rank worst to best, and let's just jump right into it. So there was 6 sets that were released this year, and in the worst out of these sets, I will have to say, was Ikoria. Now, Ikoria was a set a lot of people were excited for, but the fact that they had the Godzilla components with it, the box topper Godzillas, I mean, it lasted for like a month, the hype, and then they completely died down. If you look at Ikoria, I think it's the worst EV out of all the sets right now. So for that, it's got to be the bottom of the list right now. It's just, a mutate. A lot of people, so many people are confused at what that even does. It's just the weirdest mechanic. It's just, Big Beasts should be a great entry-level set for players to get in, especially if they're new to Magic, but they had a couple components to it that was just very confusing. And for that, I'm going to have to put that at the bottom spot at number 6. And number 5, I'm going to have to say, is Theros Beyond Death. Now, Theros Beyond Death would have been the last spot on this list for me, but if it hadn't been for certain cards gaining so much value, that's really, it ended up being a better set than Ikoria EV-wise for the long term, it looks like. And those lands, the Pokemon lands, the energy cards, they ended up actually having some pretty stable value. Like the mountains are about $1 a piece, and then the plains are about 50 cents. So if you actually think about it, even from a buy list perspective, if you crack open a box of Theros Beyond Death, you're actually going to get a pretty considerable amount back. You probably aren't going to break even unless you hit 1 or 2 heavy hitters in foil, but I think it's a pretty good set, and those basic lands actually elevate it to maybe a long-term hold in the future, because as long as they don't print anything similar to those lands, they could be like unlands later on, where they're highly sought after. And obviously Theros Beyond Death, it was available pre-pandemic, so there was a lot of product open, so we'll see about that. We're going to have to revisit that in the future and see how that product ages. But I think right now, that's going to be number 5 for me, and yeah, great set. And number 4 is actually going to be Corset 2021. Now, this would have been higher, but again, I think long-term this is a great set, but there's just something with Corsets that the value of them just, Magic Origins was one of them 2014. M2015 was okay, but Corsets is just such a shame. What a letdown. Out of the gate, it was hyped so much, and it could be due to the pandemic, but you're looking at Ujin was in there. We had Wormcoil Engine, Containment Priest, so many great reprints, but unfortunately, modern format is pretty much dead. So a lot of those modern staples that they reprinted in that set didn't really increase the product's value over time throughout the year, because again, modern, it used to be the highest played format, and now it's one of the lowest. So unfortunately, because of all the modern reprints in Corset 2021, and not a lot of cards in that set were highly played in the standard, the set value is a little low, on the low side. So for that reason, it's number 4. Now number 5 is actually going to be Thundercar Rising. Now those flip lands, they were a good idea, but the problem is there was a collector, the collector box component of the set kind of destroy the value of the sealed booster boxes, unfortunately, and that's a shame because I do think it's a good set. Zendikar is one of the most iconic planes and sets in Magic the Gathering, and the reason why it's actually at number 3 and not lower is because of the box topper aspect of it. The fact that you could get one of those expedition lands as a box topper, and there is obviously you get the 10 fetch lands in there, increases the lottery aspect of it and the FOMO aspect of it. So because of that, the gambling, I'm going to have to rank it right there. Thundercar Rising, I'm going to put that at number 3. And number 2 is actually going to be Commander Legends. I've obviously had my gripes with this set, as a lot of players and collectors have, but overall I think it's a very strong set. Commander is the strongest format right now in Magic. It seems to be where they're shifting their focus to, and Commander Legends is a knockout set. I mean, Jeweled Lotus, say what you want about it, I think it's going to be a good card in the future. It's going to be one of those staples that you kind of need to have almost for every deck. So that plus the fact they had Vampiric Tutor, Mana Drains, amazing reprints, and what it did right versus Corset 2021, which had some great reprints, is the fact that the reprints that they did include were more Commander focused. So Commander being the strongest format, it was just a no-brainer to put that at number 2. Because that was just such a strong set, and I think in the future, especially the collector booster boxes, they will go up significantly in a few years. So number 2, Commander Legends. And now our number 1 spot. I know this is gonna upset some people because of all the distribution errors, but Jumpstart, great set. I think that was the home run set of the year. It's a shame that a lot of stores couldn't get them and a lot of players couldn't get these booster boxes into their hands because it is that good of a set. And the reason why it is because it's a great entry point for players to get into Magic. And it is a game, and you want it to grow, and you want more players to come in, buy into the products. And you're looking at some very, very valuable cards in there as well, like Allosaurus Shepherd, like something was at $80 right now. And if you were able to get them cheap, I was able to buy, look, a lot of Jumpstart there, but I was able to get my boxes for $120, which is a Canadian too. So now these sell for like $240 Canadian. So for value standpoint, Jumpstart, great set. Love the artwork. I love the basic lands in it. It's just such a good way to play. You just get 2 of those, put them together, and you got a game going with your friend. And for that, I have to say, number 1 spot goes to Jumpstart. Anyways, I hope you guys had a decent 2020. I know it's hard to say have a great 2020 because it was such a disastrous year from so many standpoints, economically, socially, it's health-wise. So I really hope you guys ended up having at least some fun this year and at least done something right. Like, it's always good as a mental exercise to look at all the good things that have happened in your year. I was doing that with my fiance recently. We're going over all the good things that happened to us in 2020, and we tried to focus on that, and it's just a lot better than getting really caught up in all the depressive things happening in the news and just throughout the world. So I hope you guys can stay positive. I hope 2021 can finally rebound to a more normal life for everyone. And if that's the case, then that'll be great. And I hope that we can all share that year together and prosper through Magic the Gathering finance, having fun with family, and investing responsibly, whether it's stocks or anything else like that. All right. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next year.